Before there was light, there was only darkness. And well, you know, you just couldn't see anything. What else did you expect me to say? Go get some lights, you bum. Before we get started today, this video is brought to you by Nerd or Die. They're your number one stop shop for all your overlay needs, whether you're a live streamer or you make content on YouTube or you're just trying to put on a video podcast. All of their assets you can buy with their source file. So if you have Adobe After Effects, you can customize them to your liking. I actually use Nerd or Die a lot in my daily live stream. I've been using a lot of their things from their Pixel Pop pack for years. I absolutely love it. It fits with my already existing brand and logo, and it just took me about 15 minutes in After Effects to customize it to my color palette. You can get all your artistic overlay needs and more at Nerd or Die by going to CassieJoy.tv/nerdordie. What is up, everybody? It's Cassie Joy here. For those who don't know who I am, I'm a veteran in the live streaming and live event space with over a decade of professional experience. And today, I want to talk to you about all things lighting. Well, not really like all things, because that would be the equivalent of a 4-year degree at Full Sail, and we don't have time for that in a YouTube video. How about we downsize just a teensy bit? I promise you're still gonna learn something, okay? All right, so let's talk about the lighting that I use for streaming without a green screen. I tend to operate on a budget, so unlike other setups that can cost thousands of dollars or more, you can get this entire cinematic lighting setup for less than $500. And I know $500 is still pretty pricey, but you could buy almost everything piecemeal and do it a light or two at a time and still get a really good look. If you're interested in more expensive lighting setups, maybe give this video a like and a share and click that notification button, and we'll do one of those. These days, it's more popular than not that you will see content creators with their own spaces not using a green screen. Long gone is the days of the dude chroma keyed into the corner of his screen playing video games, smashing heads. Nowadays, the meta has gone from being gameplay focused in the vast majority of streams to personality driven. And as a streamer, your room becomes an extension to your personality. This is where you get to show off all your cool gamer goodies, and it can be even a good hopping off point for conversations and chat. Do you guys know how many questions I get about the weapon props in the background? The answer is a lot. The old standard advice I see for most streamers is the 2 lights about 45 degrees set off from your camera at equal brightness. And this is the advertising you see from streamer companies like Elgato when they show off their key light product. And that principle sticks if you want basic lighting for a green screen. But we're going for that professional cinematic vibe here, right? So let's start off with the first 2 lights. On my desk, I have these 2 Dazzne LED panels, which can be picked up on Amazon for about $220, and they come with the stands that I have them mounted on my desk. These are my 2 primary lights, acting as both my key and fill lighting. For many years, I used both those cheap shop lights that you can get at Home Depot for like $15 with some wax paper diffusion over them, and cheap photography softboxes that you get off Amazon for like $100 to light my face. But they lack control, generate a lot of heat, and they take up way more room in a setup, which, if you can tell from this little corner I have for my streaming setup, is at a premium. And it gets really hot here too. Even when I'm just recording a random YouTube video, it'll go up by like 10 degrees in this corner, and in the summer that sucks. I use these Dazzne panels over Elgato because they are both cheaper while maintaining a high quality light. And they're not reliant on Elgato supporting them till the end of time via software. If Elgato released a Keylight V2 that had hardware control buttons on it, like their ring light does, I'd be all over those and be advertising those all the time. But I don't like that the lights themselves, which will vastly outlast any software, are bound to software. As a general note for these Dazzne panels, your results may vary on their quality. I've seen reviews This one has a bit more banding between the LEDs than this one, but overall they're fairly bright, and from what I can tell by throwing them into Resolve, they're pretty color accurate too. Positioning wise, you may know something a bit different from your standard lighting setups. On my setup, my camera is off center on my desk, mainly because my gaming monitor is this one off to the left, and I don't want to be looking off into space while I'm talking to chat or gaming, so I off center it a little bit so that I center up on camera when looking at my gaming monitor. Makes sense? Makes sense. Onto the lights. The primary light you use to light your subject, in this case me, or you in your case, is called a key light. My key light is placed just behind the camera at about 10 to 20 degrees to the left. On the remote I have here, I have this set to lighting group A and set to about 5600 Kelvin. The light itself is at about 75%. And then on the far end of my desk is the other light at about 65-degree angle off from my camera, set to 5400K, and it's actually lit up to about 20%. This varying strength and light creates contrast across the face that's appealing and makes it look like there's light sources in front of me that seem natural. If, for say, I take that light and turn it down to 0%, you get this light coming onto this side of my face, and if I'm looking directly at my camera, you get these really harsh shadows along my nose, and especially under my jawline. You lose detail here, and if you have a little bit of, if you're a little bit heavier set, you got a little bit of chin fat, it just makes it unflattering and look not good. So, but this contrast, the shadowy, makes it look like a lighting source is coming from a window or something. It's very desirable in film. So you use the second light, and you put it up to about 20%. And while you still keep the shadows and you still keep the look, you gain some of that detail and quality back by just lightening the shadows a little. This gives you an overall more professional and cinematic looking vibe because it makes it look like you know what you do with your lighting setup. Quick sidebar on this whole thing. I want to go over what Kelvin is. Kelvin is a unit of measurement used in lighting to describe color temperature. You'll often see it's described on boxes for lights or LED bulbs that you get for your house, usually ranging from 2700, which is an amberish color, like old incandescents, we call that tungsten, to about 5600, which is a cooler blue tone that we refer to in film as daylight. In the case of this setup, play around with whatever you think looks best on your camera, or pick up this custom gray card on Amazon, link in the video description, to custom color balance your camera and play around with the art a little bit more, like in my LUT Basics video described here. Now, the key and fill lights are cool and all, but the background here is super dark and boring, and you can't see any of my cool stuff. I want to show off all my gamer goodies. Cue these $60 generic floodlights that I got on Amazon. They come in a pair, and they're 60 freaking watts. That's a lot of light for an LED. They're not the best out of box because they're super bright and lack diffusion, leaving harsh spots wherever they're pointed. And some comes in wax paper to save the day. Don't worry, this is totally safe, as sketchy as it may look, and you can get a big box of wax paper at the store for like $7. A couple sheets of this over the light, and they're properly diffused. They're controlled with a generic little LED remote controller that I would love to include B-roll for, but I cannot seem to find mine right now. I set it different colors for my branding. The mint and purple are completely on brand for me, and now I've got that classic gamer look going on. An alternative to this gamery look would be to go something super like warm and homey. You could string up some string lights and put a tapestry up and like have them animating on the back wall or something. I don't really have the room for that in my back room, but I do have this really cool little salt rock lamp my little brother got me a couple years ago. I threw that on the table in the back to add a little bit more natural light to my set to remind us that we're still grounded here in reality. Ah, much better. Lighting is supposed to convey mood and an emotion no matter what the subject matter is, whether it be for live streaming, for YouTube shorts, or for cinema. The way my setup gives you the vibe, the way that my set is set up gives you the vibe that we're here to play games and have fun, but the warmness at points brings you back to reality so that we can have the educational and teachable moments that I love to do and, really real talk. Now, we have a lot going on back here, and it could be a little much. And I, as the subject, can kind of get lost against the background being so colorful and still dark, right? So now I'm going to add our final light. It's a hair light. Remember those soft boxes I mentioned before? Even after 5 years, I'm giving these bad boys some good use. I've mounted it up high on an extendable microphone stand because that's what I had laying around, but you can mount it however you see fit. You just need to have it mounted pretty high up in the air as if it's a skylight and have it just a little bit off angle. Mine's about off by 30 degrees from camera center. That way it's not shining directly into the camera even when I'm standing at my standing desk, and you kind of get, this nice edge lighting going on, especially along my hair, to bring the subject front and center again, separated from the background. It reminds your brain that this is the focus right here. It's one of those subconscious things that you don't realize is in the human brain. It's really fascinating. Like, lighting science is really fascinating to me. I went to college for digital cinematography, so all of this stuff is like super interesting to me and has remained interesting to me, and I'm glad that I'm getting to share it with you guys. Realistically, that's it for today's video. All I wanted to show you was how I have my lighting set up, because I've gotten a lot of comments on it and a lot of compliments on it, and I just wanted to show that's really not that hard, and as a streamer, you don't need to spend a lot of money. A lot of these YouTubers that we see are always using these, Aperture 120Ds that are $1,000 lights with their light domes, and realistically, to get something really good looking for your 1080p live stream, you don't need to spend a lot of money. I'm sure you can find cheaper versions of the Dazzne panels. I plan to swap out this softbox with a third Dazzne panel, so I know you can pick these up in a 3-pack. That makes it even cheaper. Those LED lights are $40 to $60 anywhere. A salt rock lamp's like 10 bucks. String lights are super cheap no matter where you go. You just have to look on Amazon. And realistically, the world is your oyster. Lighting is about art, and art is about expression. So whatever fits your personality best, I hope that you find something to work with that. Realistically, what I teach on this channel is not about tutorials. What I teach on this channel is explaining what I do and why, and I hope that I accurately conveyed that in this video, because if you know why, you can apply that anywhere else. That's it for me today, guys. Thank you, everybody, for watching. If you have more lighting questions, I will be in the comments answering all of them below. Be sure to check out my gaming live streams whenever I go live here on YouTube or Twitch. Get subscribed for more YouTube tutorial content and education, and if you don't mind me, I'm gonna go see a plumber about a princess. She keeps moving. I've been trying to deliver this package for like months. It's this weird mushroom that keeps talking to me, but she keeps freaking moving. I don't get it. All right, I gotta go. Bye.